Hello, my name is Miranda Ruth Larsen, and I'm going to take you through a brief summary of K-pop's misappropriation of blackness. First, a little about me. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Tokyo that researches male K-pop groups and their fans in Japan. I'm particularly interested in how male K-pop idols navigate transcultural boundaries via their lived and constructed masculinities. So let's start with some definitions. We often talk about cultural appropriation when we mean cultural misappropriation. That's a much better label for what's going on in K-pop. Appropriation is, as Arturo Ocampo puts it, quote, the adoption or taking of specific elements of one culture by another culture, end quote. Misappropriation, on the other hand, is often muddled and requires us to ask the following questions, also delineated by Ocampo. Is there a history of discrimination or oppression of the subordinate group? Is there a power differential? Does it perpetuate negative stereotypes? Is the culture being erroneously depicted? Are important cultural symbols being used inappropriately? Is commodification occurring? And finally, is a cultural or racial group offended or likely to be offended? Now, with that in mind, we have to recognize that the foundation of K-pop, as we know it today, namely the creation and global success of the big three management agencies, included the original intent to make idols like the vanguards of the new Jack Swing musical movement in the United States. For this and additional reasons, at its very inception, K-pop has been influenced by and involved with blackness. Instances of misappropriation are therefore plentiful. K-pop is built on the notion of trends, both setting them and following successful ones. This sometimes leads to, as my friend Stitch puts it, the hood phase of most groups. This is clear in these examples from 4 Minute, EXO, and Blackpink. Here we see problematic hairstyles like dreadlocks and box braids, along with general what we might call gangsta posturing and poses that reek of cultural misappropriation. K-pop relies heavily on concepts for each new release. Rather than more of the same, aside from the vocalist or the dancer's talent, a large part of the consumptive thrill is seeing the idols regarded as familiar transform to meet and exceed the stated concept. This is why the misappropriation of blackness stings so badly in K-pop, as it turns blackness into a kind of costume. Hairstyles, outfits, and music video mise-en-scène, or the setting, background, and props, create worlds where idols can play with the idea of blackness and then take it off without any of the ramifications of actually being black. Here we have examples from G-Dragon of Big Bang in one of his solo videos, early work from BTS, and one of the vanguard's beginnings of K-pop, Rain. All three misappropriate hairstyles and stereotypical elements to communicate a tough masculinity that is tied up in blackness. For G-Dragon and BTS, this is also further complicated in their consistent identifications with black rap talent. Let's look at some more examples of this, as painful as it might be. Here we have 2NE1 advertising Adidas shoes, Big Bang representing on stage, so a live stage, as if they are the Bloods, and a subunit of Super Junior with a tough concept that again involves particular hairstyles, posturing, and accessories. Now, due to time constrictions, I'm unable to delve into misappropriation on the sonic level, so how K-pop actually sounds, but rest assured that if you wander through some K-pop playlists on YouTube or Spotify, it will present you with just as much puzzling evidence. As I've spoken about at length elsewhere, dealing with misappropriation is an extremely frustrating experience. In some cases, the idols are innocent parties, trapped in contracts that do not give them the ability to refuse an aesthetic. However, no matter the situation, when images like the ones I've shown you are made, it involves a chain of actors, from the staff to the idols to the managers to the top management. Because many idol groups are too big to fail, the ramifications of their actions usually amount to paltry apologies or a statement from the management agency recognizing perhaps some people were offended. As frustrating as this might be, It doesn't mean that critiquing misappropriation in K-pop is pointless. Far from it. Discussing it, like watching and talking about this video, is the first step. Pressuring management agencies where it matters to them, in their profits, in capital, can result in change. Additionally, I always recommend supporting rookie idols on smaller management agencies who have more creative freedom to learn and adjust their attitudes. Because they're smaller, they can hear more and change more. Now, I know this has been a very short primer, and I hope that it sparks some discussion along with the other contributions to the Thinking Aloud series. Thank you very much for listening.